I'm not threatening you. Say one more word, and that's 30 days. 30 days.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Sovereign Citizens Hall of Fame. Today, we are going to be courtroom hopping back into the courtroom of Judge Kevin Hesselink out of the state of Michigan. This is actually going to be a update on a case that I covered in the past dealing with a sovereign citizen by the name of Ronald Hardgrove. So what I'm going to do with this particular update and this proceeding is I'm going to add the two other proceedings for those of you that have not seen it. Instead of having you watch this conclusion of his case and then go back and have to find another video, I won't even do that to you. I will put all of them together, all three appearances, all the way until the conclusion, so you guys can check that out. So with that being said, guys, I am looking forward to seeing how this case ends. So without further ado, let's jump into this proceeding.
I'm turning to Ronald Hardgrove.
Jonathan Baber on behalf of Mr. Hardgrove.
All right. Is Mr. Hardgrove here?
I do see a Ronald Hardgrove name. There we go.
Okay.
George.
I think I just heard him. He's coming on. All right. Okay.
Thank you, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Hardgrove. Go ahead, Mr. Baber.
Yeah, today is the date and time set for a couple of things. It's a status conference, Judge, but it's also a hearing date for my motion to withdraw. I'm really just going to rest on what I put in my written motion for this court. I really can't disclose too much more in regard to what the conflict is between me and my client without risking attorney-client privilege, and I don't want to waive that on behalf of Mr. Hardgrove. But I do believe there's been a breakdown in the communication between me and my client. We just aren't seeing eye to eye on certain aspects, and I want to respect his wishes on how he wants to have his case represented. So therefore, I'm asking this court to consider withdrawing me from the case.
All right. Mr. Hardgrove, well, first of all, Mr. Baber, you are appointed to represent him. Is that correct?
I am.
I do see that in your motion. Okay, give me just a second to.
And I want to stress to the court, too, that Mr. Hardgrove has been very respectful. It's just a situation where we just do not see eye to eye on certain things.
All right. So, Mr. Hardgrove, you understand what, without getting into details, because I've read the affidavit of Mr. Baber, but do you understand what he is saying?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, if I allow him to withdraw, which is what I'm leaning towards right now, I'm not sure whether there will be another attorney appointed for you or not. I don't know.
No, I was just confused about a bunch of things.
Right. But, you know, when there's a significant disagreement as to how to proceed, an attorney cannot go ahead and present something to the court that the attorney believes is not justified by law or fact, even if his client thinks it is. So he can't do that if he believes, I mean, that's against the rules that we have to practice under.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question.
But you can ask it, I'll answer it if I can.
Are you the trustee for the sestui KV account, Ronald Gene Hardgrove II, or any account thereof?
Are you asking me that question? I have no idea what you're talking about.
You don't know
I
what I'm
suspect the answer is no, but we're really not going to go down that road. Right now, the only question is whether or not Mr. Baber should be your attorney or not. He's filed a motion to withdraw saying that he can't, basically you have a disagreement on how to proceed. That's too significant for him to proceed.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to allow him, Mr. Baber, was there an order that accompanied your motion?
No, Judge, I will prepare one and present it to the court by tomorrow.
All right, that's fine. I'll go ahead and sign that. Mr. Hardgrove,
Yes, sir.
you wish to have another court-appointed attorney?
No,
Or do you want to represent yourself or hire your own attorney?
Well, I guess I'm not gonna get anywhere. No, my questions aren't being answered. So I don't know what to do.
Well, I need an answer. If you want to request another attorney, I can have you interviewed again by MIDC. They may or may not appoint an attorney for you or allow one. What do you want to do?
Well, I guess I'll go forward with an attorney and
Okay,
because
so here's
I have a witness and some other things.
Okay.
I guess I need an attorney.
Well, I mean, it's up to you. I'm not necessarily going to appoint one for you. Ms. Parker, is Mr. Brown there?
Yes.
He has. He just popped on. Mr. Brown, this is a bit of a new one on me. I don't know if you heard it all. Mr. Baber was appointed to represent Mr. Hardgrove. He withdrew because they had some disagreement on what should be presented to the court. And I've allowed the withdrawal. Mr. Hardgrove still wants a court-appointed attorney. Does that have to go to Mr. Slough, or is he simply re-interviewed by you?
I don't necessarily know if he even needs to be re-interviewed unless things had significantly changed, as he did have a court-appointed attorney. So unless things have significantly changed, I don't think a withdrawal would require a re-interview. I think he would just have to be appointed another attorney.
All right, so we'll notify Mr. Gilo's office of that. Mr. Hardgrove, that attorney would be appointed for you. You'll be given the name and number of that attorney. You should give them a call. Pam, if you call, or that attorney, would you also let them know they may want to call Mr. Baker?
I'll try to remember.
Yeah, okay, I get it completely. But Mr. Hardgrove, I suspect that if this attorney has the same situation that Mr. Baber does, you may end up representing yourself or having to hire your own attorney.
Well,
Okay.
I wish you would just please answer my question.
Well, that's nothing that I can answer in a situation like this. The only question, you need an attorney, you've requested an attorney. If the next time you come to court, I won't be here because there'll be another judge. As my term ends at the end of this month, in about 10 days or so, 12 days. So any argument would be presented to them, but it has to be done according to the court rules that we're all bound by.
So you don't have to answer my question?
All right, Ronald Hardgrove, file 24-43189 ST. I see you, Mr. Hardgrove, on Zoom. You represented by counsel, Mr. Hardgrove?
I represent Mr. Hardgrove, Judge.
All right, thank you.
What we're going to ask the court to do is accept plea to count one with the second offense dismissed.
Mr. Fortier, is that an accurate statement of the agreement?
I don't know yet, Your Honor. I can't find the case for some reason.
All right, I'll give you a second.
Mr. Gilo, did Miss Brooker email you that offer?
Yes, on the 9th.
Okay. Then yeah, Judge, that would be what we're gonna do then.
All right. Mr. Hardgrove, you've heard the attorneys talk that there is an agreement being offered to you that if you plead guilty to the first offense of operating with your license suspended, the notice for second offense, which enhances the penalty, would be dismissed. Is that what you want to do? You're on mute now, Mr. Hardgrove. You're going to have to take your, there you go. Is that what you want to do today? I'm sorry.
I, I just had a few questions.
Well, you're gonna need to talk to your attorney about those questions. Do you need some time to do that?
He can't answer them for me.
All right, well, then what are your questions? Let me see if I can answer them for you.
Okay, well, I don't understand how you can be the trustee of my sestui KV account, Ronald Gene Hargrove II, and not have my best interest.
I'm sorry, what, I don't understand what your question is.
How can you be the trustee of the sestui KV account, Ronald Gene Hargrove II, and not have my best interest?
What is that account that you're referring to?
Oh, God. The sestui
Yes,
KV
it is,
account
but
that
go
everybody
ahead.
most people have, and you're the trustee, just like the Secretary of State is trustee of it. You are my trustee, aren't you?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh,
Why would I be your trustee? Mr. Gila, do you have some additional information that I'm not picking up on?
No, Judge.
It's just something that I believe in, and I've seen evidence of, and
What leads you, Mr. Hargrove, what leads you to believe that I'm your trustee?
because of a former case I've seen.
A former case, what former case are you referring to?
In Roscom, and my a friend of mine asked the judge that, and he couldn't answer him. So he
That's probably because it's not factually true.
well,
What information do you have that leads you to believe that I'm a trustee for you?
in that case, the judge quit 6 months into his new term because he was dishonored, and the sheriff. So
Mr. Hargrove, the question was not about a Roscommon County case. It was about this particular case. You've alleged that I'm your trustee. I'm asking what information or proof that you have that that is true.
so you're just denying it?
I don't know of any information that it makes it true.
Okay. If it was
What information do you have?
if it
I'm
was
sorry,
a
Mr. Hargrove, go
misdemeanor,
ahead.
if it was a misdemeanor, would it be true?
No. Misdemeanors and trusts have nothing to do with each other.
Okay,
There
well,
has to be some court order for me to be a trustee for you. For anybody to be a trustee, there has to be a court order. Do you have such a court order?
no. I just believe that you are my trustee of the sestui KV account, Ronald Gene Hargrove II, and that's.
Could you speak a little more clearly and tell me what that account is?
I'm not sure. I just believe that you are my trustee, and if you deny it, then you deny it. Okay, we'll move on from there. I guess. And another thing is, I paid $1,000 for a reinstatement fee, but you guys keep saying I don't have a license. And where did my $1,000 go? I don't understand this.
Who did you pay
paid
$1,000 to, Mr. Hargrove?
the Secretary of State or the
Then you
state
need
of
to
Michigan.
ask the Secretary of State.
Well, I believe I have my license, and they just there's a screw up somewhere.
Then you need to contact the Secretary of State, but I'm not connected to the Secretary of State. I'm the court system. I work in the court system. I don't work for the Secretary of State, so I can't tell them what to do. If you believe that you paid the money and you should have a license, you need to contact the Secretary of State.
Okay. Well, knowing that I think I had a license at the time, doesn't that change things?
It would change things only if it were true, and I don't know that it's true.
I don't
Just
either.
because you believe it doesn't make it true.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Hargrove, your attorney has told me, and the prosecutor has agreed, that there is an offer on the table for you to plead guilty to operating with license suspended in exchange for dismissal of the second offense notice, which makes this a much more serious charge.
Okay.
Do you want to accept that today, or do you want to have some additional time to speak with your attorney?
No, they don't have nothing to say to me. Their best interest is of the court. So I'll take that, and I would hope to get the same fine everybody else did today. Thank you very much.
Well, I can't guarantee that because you're in a different circumstance than everybody else.
Well, I'm pleading guilty to the same offense they just pled guilty to.
But your background is not the same as theirs.
You know what? I'll plead insanity.
We recall Mr. Hardgrove's case, People versus Ronald Hardgrove, file 24-43189-ST. We are here for a jury status conference. If I could have the appearance of counsel, please.
Amanda Brooker appearing on behalf of People.
Gary Gilo on behalf of Mr. Hardgrove.
Mr. Gilo, have you had, since the last court hearing, have you had sufficient time to speak with your client?
I have, Your Honor. We would ask you to accept a plea agreement of no contest to count 1 for lack of memory, and the second offense notice would be dismissed.
That is a correct statement, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Hardgrove, do you understand what the attorneys have just said to me?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you are currently charged with driving with a license suspended as a second offender. The second offense notice increases the penalty up to 1 year and or $1,000 fine. The first offense notice, which is what you're going to be pleading to, has a maximum of 93 days and or a $500 fine. Do you understand the difference between those two things?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to inform you of certain rights that you have right now that you would be giving up if you wish to enter a plea. So I want you to listen carefully. You have the right to have a trial by a judge or by a jury. You have the right to see, hear, and question any witnesses at that trial. You have the right to call witnesses to speak for you at trial and to get an order called a subpoena to require those witnesses to appear and testify on your behalf. You have the right to be a witness for yourself or to remain silent as you choose. And if you choose to remain silent, that silence cannot be used against you because you have an absolute right against self-incrimination. You also have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt and to have that burden of proof be on the prosecutor at all times. If you enter a plea today, all of those trial rights would be waived or would be given up. Do you understand that?
Yep.
You retain your right to have your attorney assist you at any trial or at any plea that you have, like Mr. Gilo is doing today. Has anybody promised you anything or threatened you in any way to get you to plead guilty?
No contest, Judge.
I'm sorry, no contest. Thank you, Mr. Gilo. Has anybody promised you anything or threatened you in any way to get you to plead no contest, Mr. Hardgrove?
No, Judge.
Are you doing so of your own free choice and free will?
Yes.
Raise your right hand so I can swear you in, sir. You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Hardgrove, are you pleading guilty or pleading no contest because you want me to accept that just like I would a guilty plea?
Yes.
All right. You understand that a no contest plea has the same effect as a guilty plea? You simply don't have to tell me what it is that you did, but the consequences will be the same. You understand all of that?
Yes, I wanted to simply, to give you a simple explanation of what happened, but
you're going to have an opportunity to do that in just a minute. But I simply want you to make sure that you understand what your rights are. All right?
I appreciate that.
Mr. Gilo, what is it that you want me to use as a factual basis to establish the charge?
You should have an affidavit of probability there.
I can send one down if the judge does not. This may have been a ticket arraignment, so I'm not sure if the court would have that or not.
I do have an affidavit of probable cause. Let me get it out. All right, Mr. Hardgrove, there is in some cases prepared what is called an affidavit of probable cause. It is a short summary prepared by the prosecutor's office of what they believe the facts of the case are. Do I have your permission to review that as the basis for your no contest plea?
Please.
All right, let me do that. Cause signed in October of 2024. It indicates that in the city of Gaylord and Otsego County on or about October the 11th of 2024, there was a traffic crash. The police investigated, were called to the scene, were informed by the driver of the vehicle that was hit, rear-ended, which was on West Main Street near the intersection of Dickerson Road, that the other driver had made an admission of not having a license. Police interviewed the other driver. He was identified by his identification card as Ronald Hardgrove II, and he admitted to the police that he did not have a driver's license and was suspended. I find that that is a proper factual basis for the driver's license suspended, and will accept the no contest plea, finding it was entered knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily. Mr. Hilo, is it your intention to proceed directly to sentencing?
Yes, Judge.
Ms. Bruker, any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Allocution, Mr. Gilo.
Judge, I'd ask the court to just assess the minimum fines and costs relative to this case. Mr. Hardgrove has some medical issues that he has to deal with, and it's not a I don't believe that but I don't believe that there's any restitution that has to be ordered on this particular case either. So with that said, I'd ask the court maybe a short term of probation, if any.
Ms. Bruker, your comments?
I just note he's suspended for 625 offenses. He's been suspended for quite a while. That's all I really wanted to make the court aware of.
All right, Mr. Hardgrove, you now have an opportunity to tell me anything that you want about this particular case and about your circumstances. You do not have to make a statement, but you're certainly able to do so if you want to. So go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I'll keep it short. I had hired a driver to go with me, and he had some mental problems, and he jumped out of the car while in motion and ran down the freeway, told me he was going to kill himself. So I tried to do what I had to do to try to retrieve him, and I got and in this process I broke the law, and I really didn't even have time to think, and I apologize, and I just I'm caught in a vicious circle, you know, of going to the doctors and having to do things, you know, getting stuck driving sometimes, and I just hate it. I feel like a prisoner in my own home. I feel like I don't have the right to praise my God, go to church. I just feel like a prisoner in my own home. It's just a vicious circle I can't get out of, and I'm very upset.
I can tell that you are upset, sir, and I'm sorry that you feel that way, and I wish there was something I could do to help you with that. But going out and driving isn't going to help that situation at all when you have a suspended license. And unfortunately for you, in this case, you got yourself into an accident, and the police had to be called. So all I can say is you have to do what you have to do. And in this case, what you have to do is not drive when you don't have a driver's license. And even though you may feel overwhelmed at times, there are good folks in town who will assist you with where you need to go and what you need to get. So plug yourself into one of the churches or one of the charitable organizations. There's lots of people in this town that want to help people. So,
all right, I can't just let that one go. He was on the highway and his driver jumped out of a moving vehicle. Now, I'm not saying that didn't happen, but that seems a little bit of a stretch, right? I mean, that's the kind of thing that happens in movies. He's also pleading no contest for the reasons of, you have to have a reason to plead no contest. You can't just plead no contest. And his reason was lack of memory. Sounds like he remembered it pretty well. The story just isn't really that believable. It might be.
give them an opportunity to do that for you, sir.
I'm in the back of the woods over here, and I don't have that opportunity like you do in Gaylord, as you say. And I get very nervous with most people that drive, so it's very hard to find someone to travel with.
Well, it's a hard road to hoe if you're trying to do everything on your own. We are meant for relationships and helping each other out. So let the people around you do that. All right. As to today, all right. Anything else you want to say, sir?
No, I'm just overwhelmed.
Well, I am going to simply impose the minimum fines and costs and the minimum normal sentence that we do. I'm not going to add to your burden any more than I absolutely have to. So I'm going to say there's a crime victim fee of $75. There's a justice assessment of $50. Court costs of $50. Local charge of $15. Fine of $25. Can you pay that in full today?
If I was in the area, I can do it tomorrow.
It's $215.
All right.
How long do you think it would take you to pay that?
I can pay it tomorrow. If I live in St. Helen.
All right. I'll give you 7 days to do that.
Thank you.
Ms. Brucker, is there any request from the prosecution that I place him on probation for any term? I know you said that would be okay with you, but is there anything specific that you want to have happen on probation?
No, Your Honor.
All right. I'm simply going to leave him with the fines and costs. Sir, if you pay that off within 7 days, you won't have to be on probation. I won't have to add any fees to that. So you're going to get out of this with $215 in fines and costs with 7 days to pay, and you won't be on probation. However, if you don't do that, then I do have to put you on probation to extend the time for you to pay that off. You understand what I'm saying to you?
I think you're more than fair.
All right. I appreciate you. That will be the order of the court then, sir. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Well, guys, we have come to the end of these 3 proceedings, and finally, Mr. Hardgrove has gotten his case finally over and done with. He stopped, the antics that he was doing in the first couple proceedings, especially when he talked about wanting to plead insanity. Unfortunately, it seems like Mr. Hardgrove has a lot going on in his life, a lot of things against him, which, many of us can identify with that. There's times in our lives we go through and have to deal with stuff. And prayerfully, like the judge was saying to him, he can find some people in the community to help him out with that, the right people in the community. Because if you think about it, now watching this third appearance and the conclusion of all of this, when you really look at the first 2 appearances and you heard how he was kind of talking, obviously Alzheimer's citizens are influenced by some type of script or person or whatever have you. But just the way he was talking, it was almost like that situation where he just wants to do the right thing, and he felt like that was the right thing. Like somebody gave him the script or told him, listen, this is going to be the easiest way for you to get out of it. And as we can see in his third appearance, he was apologetic. He doesn't want any trouble. He's not really that invested in the sovereign citizen script. He just wants to get back to church. He was saying to praise, God, and, just get back into his normal flow of things. But he can't be doing that behind the wheel. And hopefully he, still is in the position to be able to reinstate his license if that's what he desires to do. But with that being said, thank you for joining me for these appearances. As always, I look forward to joining you guys on the next one. This is Sovereign Citizens Hall of Fame. And for now, guys, Sovereign Citizens Court is adjourned. I'll see you guys on the next proceeding. God bless.